Hola, Javier.
Hola, Fernando. Perdona que me haya conectado un pelín tan tarde.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon for those of you connected from Europe and Africa. Welcome to our webinar, Harnessing Data on Carrier Networks, the new Goldrush. My name is Fernando Núñez Mendoza. I'm the CEO of fonYou. And with me today is Javier Pérez Trigo, Head of Enterprise Sales for Spain on Portugal of Google Cloud. Hello, Javier.
Hi, Fernando.
Hi. I'll be running the first leg of this webinar where we will explain the technology behind what you saw in this video that shows the future, shows the digital carrier of the future with a broad perspective on what the users are doing, what is their behavior, and providing them advanced services in real time. So the plan for today is talking about data, this data that we can exploit, data that is waiting for carriers to use in massive quantities, and the type of technology that we need to process the billions of events that this data represents, and how to solve real problems of real users. We'll give you a glimpse on our technology based on Google Cloud, and the achievements we've made. Let me just mention, for example, some of the things we'll share today with you, the benefits of accelerating the adoption of the digital channel that now is very much, a very present need for most carriers because of the situation with the coronavirus, but it's a top strategic priority of all of them. We'll also share with you that the digital channel is not just another way to save costs, that we increase the value of customers by more than 20%. And we also share that conversion rates and scalability are now so good that we can aim at having digital channel for most of the customers, not just for a few of them. So this is what I will share with you in the first part of the webinar, and then Javier will take over to explain you a very exciting strategy that Google Cloud has for telcos. And I'll come back and wrap up and to answer your questions today. So this is the agenda. And just going straight into who's fonYou, because Google Cloud doesn't need any introduction. fonYou is a company that is working for a good number of carriers in building the future, building the digital future, deploying technology that automates and makes intelligent, smart, and with a high quality experience, the digital channel that distributes the products and services of the carrier, and in the future of other companies like financial services or gaming, digital subscriptions. Here you can see some of our numbers. They are growing, and we have a very sizable number of operations in many countries across the globe. Let's talk about data. Everybody knows that data creation is exploding. Data is all around the place. Good data, bad data. All industries are looking for strategic data, data that they can exploit to get an advantage, to serve better their customers, to do new things. The amount of data that is generated, that is crossing telco networks, is amazing. But telcos are only using a very, very small fraction of it. And this is actually the goal that we set for ourselves a few years ago. How could we tap into this golden resource, which is the unexploited data of the core network? So yeah, we realized that only a very small fraction is actually used, and we saw smart ways to harness this data by connecting in a simple way with a complex infrastructure in the cloud to better serve the needs of the future customer. All future customers will be digital. We still talk about digital customers and non-digital customers because our industry still has strong reliance on physical networks for the distribution of the products of the industry. But the future will change all that. In which way? Well, imagine now a situation in which a typical customer has connectivity problems or wants to access new digital products and services. There is a lot of friction. Today, there is a lot of friction for this person to be able to access the solutions, the connectivity she needs. Our experience is that most of the time in many countries, in many places, people have non-connectivity because they run out of data, because their debit cards have no funds, or because they are simply far away from a top-up point, or it's an inconvenient type of the day or the night. This amount of friction represents billions of dollars lost in revenue, and we tackled this problem a few years ago by developing a completely new technology that is oriented to develop the digital channel and solving this problem that is relevant for the majority of our customers across the globe. What is the challenge then? The challenge we are discussing today. How to fully digitalize the airtime distribution of carriers. First, for their own products, and then to distribute products of any other company that would like to collaborate with the carrier in the future. So number one priority is solving connectivity, of course. Without connectivity, there is nothing else. And for that, advanced systems for real-time digital payments and credit solutions had to be developed. We've developed them. So we're able to manage risk with low friction in real time with this technology we're going to describe for you in a minute. The second thing that is a challenge for the industry, and we think is time to assume that we have to do better work there, is the experience centricity of the future of the business. It's not just providing connectivity, it's also providing a good experience users so they repeat, they want to use the digital channel because it's the best one. And related to that is the hyper-personalization, which is needed in order to get relevance and a personal connection of the customer with the digital channel. So customers need to receive proposals that are perfectly suited to them, and this requires the use of massive data science and machine learning technologies, all powered by the cloud. So in order to see in a little bit more closer way what this means, imagine the situation, very frequent situation of this user, this customer, that got with no data, and in addition, it's a very usual situation, no funds in his debit card. He needed to order an Uber, and is basically stuck. And maybe before he thinks of looking for the next top-up place, if he has any cash available, we detect in real time the event that represents this situation. Here you have it. So the event is detected in real time, and a complex machinery that is totally hidden and simplified for the user happens in the cloud. The cloud analyzes the situation and in a few seconds presents the optimum offer through the best channel possible to this customer, maybe studying his or her behavior that we know, or the purchase history of airtime products he had in the past. And this optimum offer is, with a high likeliness, accepted by the user, and in a matter of 3 seconds, more or less, the transaction takes place. The bundle of connectivity is provisioned in real time, and the user is notified that everything went well. He now has connectivity and can proceed with the ordering the Uber, in this case, he initially wanted to order. All this machinery is complex, but for the user it's a good experience, happens in seconds, and we are doing it massively at an industrial scale in many of our customers. How do we meet this challenge? What are the cornerstones to solve this problem? What is happening behind the scenes? First, that we have a state-of-the-art cloud technology. The elasticity of the cloud, the immediacy is basic to solve this problem at the industrial scale. Second, the advanced machine learning tools that allow us to extract value from data to develop models of behavior that are necessary for presenting optimum offers to customers in real time. This machine learning powers deep mobile analytics. It's a new technology that allows to put together the offer for one person, the optimum one, in a matter of seconds. And all together comes down to a very scalable system that allows to solve this problem at an affordable cost with very good unit economics that we will share in a minute. So we can aim not just at having digitalized the top valued customers of our customer base, but most of our customers. This is the goal we should set for ourselves in the next years. In this diagram, you see a summary of how all this works. User events in the billions in a typical carrier a day are extracted from the core network, and they get through our edge systems to the cloud domain where all happens. Events are acquired, preprocessed, stored, and then they are used to feed a prediction engine that detects which clusters of behavior, what we call it maps, which customer maps this particular customer belongs to, in order to put together in real time the best possible solution, the best possible offer to satisfy the need of the customer or solve the problem at hand. This offer is pushed to the smartphone of the user in real time, and the user accepts, generates a response to it, which is hopefully positive, but in any case is fed back into our AI and data lab complex that refines the customer behavior models that are used in real time. So next time that we see a similar event for this user, we do it a little bit better. And this goes on and on until optimum performance is achieved. Of course, this technology requires the scalability of economics. It means that every single event has to be processed with a cost that a few years ago was simply not possible to achieve. You have here in the slide our target, which is processing every single raw event at a cost of approximately 10 to the minus $7. Only in this way we can scale up the solution to the whole customer base in an economic way and aim at full digitalization of all the customers. What happens then when you deploy this kind of technology? Many radical changes. For example, this is taken directly out from one of our operations. Some years ago, we started digitizing the customer base of this particular carrier you see here. And in 15 months, we managed, and we were very happy, to reach almost 10% of digitalization of the customer base. But as soon as we deployed this new technology, the iCarrier technology, that's the way we call our platform, on Google Cloud, the adoption of the digital channel accelerated, double, triple, and our ambitions now are much higher. We expect to reach 30, 40, 50% of the customer base through the digital channel very soon. Actually, as you can see here, in 6 months, we achieved as much digitalization as in the previous 15 months, which is very remarkable. It's one of the big benefits of going full digital in the distribution of carrier products. But this is just the first of the benefits. More striking, maybe, and I think it's the first time that a technology provider shares real results of the value that digital channels create, is what you see here. We have run a control experiment, but in real operations, comparing the amount of airtime purchased by customers that before were not digital and were onboarded to the digital channel. And this is the result. This is an average result. More than 20% more airtime sold to the same customers that before were not digital. In some cases, for some groups, especially the ones that were not using this much airtime products, the increase is even higher. Why? Why is this happening? We are still trying to understand the dynamics of these numbers, but we think that there are 3 main reasons why customers purchase more digital products. First, they are less time without balance because we are immediate and relevant. Actually, we can say that from the days that we observe people were not connected, you can deduct 2, 3, 4 days a month that before were lost for the carrier. Second, customers purchase higher value products. They are more keen on buying the right product for the problem they have at hand. I can share, for example, an example that we detect when a user is consuming streaming media, maybe watching a football match, and we can push an offer for connectivity for just a short time period that they can finish taking a look at this sports match. So they buy more airtime and more relevant for them. And finally, we believe that the recurrence of purchases is increased because of the optimized user experience that the digital channel provides. And again, it's all happening in real time with less physical friction than traditional methods. So putting all together, what we achieved was a very big success case that some time ago, with the help of our friends Google, we documented. You can take a look at this customer success case in the link provided here in this slide. And this was just at the beginning of our adventure, deploying AI in the digital channel of carriers. Today, I can share, as a wrap-up for this first part of the webinar, that we are able to provide the advanced solutions you saw before at an extremely low event processing cost. The economics are very important, 10 to the minus $7 per event. That makes possible full digitalization of the customer base. But more striking, probably you have experience with traditional SMS-based marketing campaigns, conversion rates are at least 10 times better. They are in the double digits. You have services that are adopted in real time by customers at 10, 15, 20%, which is very, very good. And last but not least, very important, you lower time to market. Why? Why is this so important? We are in the digital domain. And digital companies and customers of digital companies expect that you are agile in following market trends, in launching new features, in adapting to user needs. We all know how painful and long has been traditionally to launch new products and services in the telco domain. With the cloud and with this type of technology, it's possible to launch new features just in a mere days or weeks. And we are now used to behave as another digital company launching continuously products and services and making tests to optimize the user experience in the commercial performance. Okay, so this success has been achieved in collaboration, deep collaboration with Google Cloud. And now I will give the token to Javier that will share with you the very exciting strategy that Google has for telcos in the next minutes of the webinar. Javier, please.
Thank you, Fernando. By the way, congrats. I mean, it's really impressive what your team and yourself have achieved to help telcos to find value in all the data they have, which is almost an ocean.
Thank you, Javier.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning to the guys that are in Americas. It's a pleasure to be here with our technology partner, fonYou. Happy to share with you how Google Cloud is helping telcos around the world. I don't know if we can move to the next slide. Or actually, I'm controlling that. Okay, thank you. We are working with telco companies, and we will share some references in a second all across the world. The reason for that is probably well summarized in this slide. First, in many of the conversations with the cloud, around cloud, we find that security is a first topic that is discussed. In our case, we have been investing significantly over the years in making sure that the data we have from our consumer customers first, and then from our enterprise customers as well, is fully secure. Google has a very solid track record around that over many years. And now we are using all these technologies and knowledge we have to secure also the data from our enterprise customers in Google Cloud. Not only that, but we are also providing some of this technology security products for our customers so that they can adopt them. Second, flexibility. Obviously, probably in many years or in few years, we'll see most of the IT workloads in public cloud. But for now, especially in telcos, which is a quite mature market with very solid and well-known companies, we have to be able to offer them flexible architectures, combining their current data centers, their current edge infrastructures with the best advantages of the public cloud, not only ours, but also from our competitors. And in that sense, Google Cloud is offering, and we will discuss it a bit later, good solutions based on open source, which secures the openness of the solutions, to easily manage applications in hybrid scenarios, in multi-cloud scenarios, in a very consistent way. Third, I would call it agility and probably efficiency. Our cloud is known to be probably the easiest to operate. And that translates not only to lower cost of management and efficiency, therefore, but also to that helps our customers to be more agile and deploy projects faster. And I think fonYou is a good example of that. When they have to deploy a project with any telco around the world, they can be much more agile thanks to cloud and Google Cloud in particular. Four, obviously we are in a webinar about data. The capability to get value and insights for the huge oceans of data that telcos have is a key feature of our platform. Google Cloud is also well known as being the leader of the technologies around data, big data, advanced analytics, and machine learning. And we are helping many telcos in these areas, and we will give a couple of examples later on. Last but not least, Google Cloud is part of Google. That brings also some advantages that other clouds might not have. In particular, sorry, trying to move to the next. sorry. So in particular, the telco industry is probably the vertical with more touch points between Google/Alphabet and our customers. As you can see there, we have selected only few logos. There are many lines of businesses and solutions that Google is either offering or partnering with telcos across the world. Probably, I would say any telco around the world is somehow working with Google one way or another. Sometimes it's deploying their TV services with Android TV. Sometimes it's collaborating in their home strategy with our devices division, Google Nest. Obviously, Android is a big thing in all the telco operators, or maybe collaborating with our streaming gaming services like Stadia. Okay, just so we are clear, the logos that you are seeing there in the slide are some of the customers that are already working with Google Cloud. Not without those logos, because as I said, almost all the telcos in the world are already working with Google one way or another. Okay, how we are helping the telcos as Google Cloud? Well, if I have to summarize it, I would probably group the different solutions we have in three main themes. Okay, first, we are helping telcos monetize their 5G investments in the new networks. Second, we are helping them rethink the customer journeys and the customer experiences they have, not only in digital channels, obviously in digital channels as well, but not only there, using the data they have and using new techniques around machine learning. And third, we are also helping them to achieve some operational improvements that are bringing efficiency to their financial results. Going a bit deeper into the three of them is not the purpose of the webinar, so I'm not going to go point by point. You will have the slides later on. There are a lot of information on the internet. But talking a bit deeper on the three different themes. First, regarding the monetization of the 5G investments, what we are doing with telcos mostly is help them with our Anthos solution, which is based in Kubernetes, fully open source, allowing them to deploy existing applications, or to build new applications that are deployed seamlessly in their premises, in their data centers, in the public cloud, ours or others, and also in their edge infrastructure, okay, which is probably one of the hottest topics currently in the telco industry. Second, if we talk about customer experience and data, there are different approaches there. fonYou is a great example of that. Basically, telcos have a lot of data from the customer, from the network, from their operations. And we are doing projects building data lakes, data warehouses, mixing data from CDRs or operations and customers, and finding value out of them. Okay, in many cases with technology partners as fonYou. Another area of interest for many telcos is how to improve the experience and how to make more efficient the contact center services they have for the customers, either for customer care or for sales. And in that area, we have the the contact center AI solution that is improving significantly the experience in those contact centers using our machine learning technology. Finally, talking about operational efficiencies, we are doing different things. Obviously, again, using machine learning for network planning or improving the network maintenance, and in many cases, building partnerships with the major ISVs in the OSS and BSS spaces in the telco industry. We will talk about that also at the end of my part. If we combine all this together, you will find like solutions like this one, okay, where we are using Anthos to deploy the infrastructure and to manage the application in the telco data center and also in the telco edge or in the public cloud, and building a value and applications on top of that help retailers around the world, airports, sometimes factories, and so on and so forth. Okay, and in most of the cases, we are doing this along with the telco, because at the end of the day, the telco owns not only the network but also the edge locations. An example of that is the alliance we have with AT&T, where we are already working with a major retailer that for now is confidential in building advanced solutions for the shops. And we are also working to build solutions that will leverage their 5G network for different verticals like manufacturing, gaming, retail, or transportation. If we go to the second theme of areas where we can help telcos, customer experience and data, as we talk, Vodafone is another great reference. Vodafone had a legacy infrastructure for big data, basically huge data lakes on premise, and they decided to move everything to Google Cloud, building much better capabilities to extract insights from those data lakes and be able to personalize the customers' experiences. Finally, regarding operation efficiencies, as I said, we are partnering with the top leaders in this area in the telco world. We have here an example of Netcracker, Amdocs, BSS and OSS providers. In the market, we are doing the same thing. We just announced it with Ericsson. And in these areas, what we are trying to do is to take their solutions and make sure they run on GCP and take advantage of the cloud advantages. Okay, for instance, being able to scale up or scale out, scale down at the same time that the business is needing the infrastructure, or adding some data and advanced machine learning capabilities to their existing solutions to take advantage of all the data that is going through their systems. So with that, I think I'm going to give the voice to Fernando to wrap up the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you very much. I mean, there is many other things that we could be discussing today regarding the collaboration with Google Cloud. Let me just mention that Google offers other things that are very relevant for what we are doing. We already have some of the first channels, digital channels developed on top of RCS, distributing airtime in a much better, much more effective way with, for example, SMS. There is, of course, Android. There's many other things we could be talking. But going back to the subject today of this webinar, and I'd like to wrap up quickly because there is a good number of very interesting questions I would like to have time to answer, and maybe a few of them also with the help of Javier. What have we been talking about? We've been talking about something completely new, which is taking a look at what's going through your core network, extracting what's valuable there, and harnessing it in order to understand the customer problems or needs just now in real time and responding with the best possible offer. That's much more radical that we can express with words. Only with the experience of seeing it in your smartphone, you can actually grasp what we're talking about. By the way, we will be distributing after this webinar to those of you interested white paper that we will give you further insights, further data on what we're discussing today. And maybe for some of you that are also asking for real live demos, we'll be very happy to share our videos or live demonstrations offline. So wrapping up, the big benefits of what we discussed today is that adoption of the digital channel just explodes. And in half a year, for example, typically you double the adoption you had before after you exhausted all other methods to push your digital channel to customers. And that's not the limit. We think we can achieve 50% or more digitalization of your customer base in a few months. Then there is the increase of value that digital channels provide. It's not just cost reduction. It's not just lowering commission. It's that the customers use more products and they are much more satisfied. Actually, it's not put here. Churn is also reduced. And finally, we gain agility, speed. Telcos become truly digital companies. at the same level that the ones we all know. They can push new products and services in an efficient way with low unit economics, but also very fast. So all in all, this is ready for deployment technology. Our technology is called iCarrier. That's the carrier of the future. That's our vision. And we're very happy to share with you any detail that you might be interested on after this webinar concludes. Here are our links, and I would like to thank you very much for attending today. And now I would like to ask you stay a little bit more, because there is like almost 10 questions. I'll try to answer most of them. And let me just go straight to the first one I see here, just in the order that they have been received. So first question is how these payment methods are working in Latin America, where consumers lack credit cards and most of them are prepaid. Is only credit card or there are other options? Very good question. Of course, credit cards and debit cards have been, the first electronic payment methods we have deployed. But now there is a strong effort to deploy wallets. Wallets are going to be big in Latin America. In some countries are very advanced on that. And we are, as we speak, launching our capabilities to use the major wallets in most of the operations we have in the region. So wallets are going to be very important. And the other very interesting development is the standards that some governments are issuing to regulate initially peer-to-peer electronic payments, but of course it's going to be also business to a person. I'm talking of CODI in Mexico or PIX in Brazil. These standards are going to happen in almost all countries in the world, and we are already integrating our platforms to be able to deploy them. This will make electronic payments universal and affordable and accessible to everybody, so much more than credit cards. Okay, next question. Can this solution also be used in postpaid markets? Of course. Why have we started with prepay? Because prepay generates a lot of friction. There is a huge number of lost revenues because the limitations that prepaid has today. You have to go physically to a top-up place, or you have to use a very clunky, old-fashioned channel to provision yourself with airtime when you need it. So prepay is number one priority. The solution is there, it's working beautifully, and we can run now and achieve 50, 60, 70% of the digitalization of the carrier user base. But postpaid markets are very interesting too. We are now focusing on them too. Distributing digital subscriptions, Netflix, Spotify, distributing, for example, gaming services like the ones that Google has recently announced, Stadia. All this is very relevant to postpaid users, and this type of technology is the best probably to push the right offer to each postpaid user that may need it, because we understand the behavior of each user, and we can present, for example, a user that we know is heavy user of gaming, a new offer of a new gaming platform. So yes, the answer is postpaid is also one of the focus, one of the targets. The other questions focus on security. I think Javier mentioned some of these questions before, but the other side of security is data privacy. I would like also the help of Javier to answer this. Let me just say that telcos are companies that have to obey, they have to observe territorial country regulations on data privacy. fonYou is a company with origins in Europe. Europe is leading the world in user data privacy regulations. And with the help of new technologies of the cloud, hybrid cloud, edge computing, we can ensure that we can deploy data where each telco needs to have it and fulfill all the regulations, even the most strict ones that every territory has. Maybe, Javier, you would like to add something regarding security or user data privacy, because it's a major concern of telcos.
Absolutely, and both things are equally important. I mean, you have to have the data secure in a legal and compliant way, both things. And well, security, I already mentioned it before. In terms of data compliance, obviously, Google Cloud provides services only in the countries where we are legal and we are complying with all the regulation, which is in most of the cases. Definitely in all the countries where fonYou operates. And in each place, we have either global or local certifications that are allowing us to work in the different countries and also in the different verticals. Although we are talking here about telcos, in other verticals there are other specific certifications, and we are also making sure that we are getting them in order to work with those kind of customers.
Thank you, Javier. Okay, there is an interesting question here that had to appear. Is related to the current coronavirus crisis and how digitalization is now on top of the agenda for all of us. Well, digitalization is on top of the agenda for fonYou in any case, because this is what we do. But yes, what we have observed in the last weeks, in the last couple of months, is a total rush into digitizing even ideas we had before on how to put new methods of distribution, new methods of payment, now are absolute priority, and it's very, very intense times. These things are going to last. Now we realize that digitalization, we should have pushed much earlier and much harder, because situations like the one we are living today show us the value of eliminating any physical friction from the distribution, right? So yes, these times are making us experience a big push in digitalization. Another question. There's 2 or 3 more I can handle in the time we have allowed here, so let me go quickly through it. Interesting, but how can you reduce payment fraud? Well, the easy answer is that we put algorithms to do the work. So we don't try to be gurus and have these strange rules that were the traditional method of detecting fraud. We give our algorithms, our data scientists, the best data we can. We give data that is related to the activity that the user is making through the smartphone. And by a smart way of analyzing clusters of data and using the right insights, the algorithms discover patterns that are fraudulent, and we eliminate these transactions from the pool of transactions. And one fraudulent customer normally eats up the benefit of 20 good customers. So it's very good to focus with the right algorithms in eliminating the most fraudulent transactions. Another question, how to manipulate user behavior data on the operator's network to have assertiveness in real-time campaigns? Yeah, okay. What I understand from this question is how is user behavior understood and used to improve a campaign? Let me give you an example. With our technology, we are so granular that we can understand that a given user that we don't know is totally anonymous, but we know that a given user is, for example, now consuming streaming media. And maybe we can push a better bundle offer or a better streaming media offer from a competitor in real time to this user to offer a better service. I think I mentioned before the example of connectivity package that is focused just for you to finish watching a football match. That's an example, right? Real-time need solved in seconds for a concerned user. So user behavior is in the core network because the core network channels your activity through the smartphone. What we do is to try to understand what's useful there and propose the best solution. Another question. Besides the efficiency in selling and rate conversion, of course, real-time offers gives you have any data regarding cost reduction in call centers, etc.? Well, that's a very interesting question, and I'm going to say that the number one saving you have with the cloud for the telco environment, the one we have observed, of course, savings in hardware, in ordering systems, in time to deploy, in hardware failure is important. The cloud has that, and we all know. But in our experience, look, we operate complex systems that work 24 times 7. Is operations. Operations are the big savings. So our operations team is now supervising automatic systems. Before, we were fighting to keep hardware alive. This is the number one savings, because basically, with a much smaller team, you can operate a much more complex network that actually covers the whole user base. So in regarding data, from the top of my mind, I could say that operations could be done by a team that is maybe 4 or 5 times smaller in a much better way than before. So this is the most accurate data I could provide us regarding this in real time. Okay, I have here 2-3 more questions. More details on how RPU is increased. Just reminding the 3 aspects that we have identified that directly impact RPU increase. Number 1 is that users are less time without connectivity. That's a fact. We have reduced connectivity, 10, 15, connectivity disconnection, 10, 15, 20%. But in addition, customers buy higher value products. They actually realize, because we offer them the right product, that they can buy and optimize the purchase, and they actually end up buying more, probably because it's more convenient. This is the Amazon effect, right? And the third factor is the recurrence in the use of the digital channel. It's so convenient and it's real time that users purchase more. It's simply as simple as that. This altogether adds up to an average first numbers of 20% increase in RPU. Okay, the 2 last questions. If consumers runs out of data in an app, do you have the ability to show them the real-time offer? Yes, that's probably something that very few tech companies can do. I think we are almost the only one. We can detect customers without data in an app, either in encrypted or non-encrypted protocol, right? And we can present them a real-time offer. Let me spare you the technical details. We're happy to talk to you offline about this technology, how it works. This question probably comes from a very technical person, and we are very happy to discuss this with you offline. So please contact us and we'll tell you how we do it. And final question, have fonYou considered using the technology in other verticals such as the banking sector? Yes, we are already working with companies in the financial industry. This is going to be one of the big news that we're going to announce in the next months. This technology is made to understand customers, right? It's made to serve them better, not just to distribute airtime, but to distribute all other sorts of products and services that can be delivered in digital form. Financial services are a natural fit for that. Yes, we're going to announce how this technology can be used in collaboration with banks. Actually, what we like is to see telcos and banks working together to better serve customers. And yeah, as I said, this is going to be announced by us in next month, and it's going to be a very exciting news too. So this is all we had for today. If there is no further questions, I would like to thank you all for attending. Please be back to us with your additional questions if you need more details. This webinar is going to be available, I believe, for the next 5 days for those of you that want to see it again, or for your colleagues that couldn't make it today for the real-time session. And this is all I had to say. Thank you very much for all of you for attending this webinar. And Javier, thank you very much for helping us with the presentation too.
It was my pleasure. I hope everybody found it interesting. And thank you, fonYou and Fernando, for counting on us for this webinar.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Take care.